Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Today we begin with a story before the story. John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry is considered by many historians as a prelude to the Civil War. Brown's ties to northern New England are well known. Brown bought a farm in North Elba, New York, in hopes of teaching African Americans how to farm in the Northeast. The property would become Brown's final resting place after he was hung for treason in 1859. A couple of years before his death, Brown traveled to southern Vermont to Proctorsville in the town of Cavendish. Brown was there to solicit help from a fellow abolitionist who was a leader in Vermont politics. Howard Coffin picks up the story from there.
On a winter day around New Year's 1857, a famous man got off the train down here at the end of Depot Street and walked up to this red brick building that used to be a hotel. He got a room there. The great abolitionist John Brown and his son Owen. Brown checked in and then went off to see Ryland Fletcher, the governor of Vermont, who lived just up the street. Fletcher was an abolitionist too, and he had gotten the legislature to approve $20,000 to support the Free State settlers in Kansas, where Brown had been. John Brown at this time may already have been planning his Harper's Ferry raid. Indeed, his son Owen would be in the raid with Brown. He would survive, although Brown would lose two sons at Harper's Ferry. John Brown spoke here in the old Proctorsville School, which today is right across the street from the modern Cavendish Elementary School. Several years after Brown's visit, a local lawyer, Henry Atherton, wrote about it for the Rutland Herald. As soon as it was known that John Brown was stopping in our village, all manifested a desire to see and hear the man. We thought little then how soon John Brown would be moldering in the ground, but his soul was even then at that hour marching on. Many white abolitionists would talk about dying for their cause. Only John Brown did.
Thank you, Howard. In a minute, we'll head southwest across the Green Mountains from Cavendish to the town of East Arlington and the home of Wilcox Ice Cream. The company has been in business since 1892. Across the Fence profiled the Wilcox family and their ice cream business a few years ago when they worked with UVM Extension agricultural engineer Chris Callahan. It was recently announced that Callahan was selected to receive the 2021 Professional Engineer of the Year Award from the American Society of Agriculture and Biological Engineers. The award honors an engineer who has made outstanding contributions to the engineering profession, public welfare, and humankind. We at Across the Fence congratulate Chris on this award. Even better, we can show you how Chris embodies the land-grant mission of the University of Vermont to solve challenges and improve the lives of Vermonters, which in the case of Wilcox Ice Cream is pretty sweet.
Working on Sweet Street in East Arlington, Vermont has its perks.
What makes good ice cream? The formulation, the ability to freeze the product very quickly.
Wilcox's premium ice cream touts itself as Vermont's original ice cream. The Wilcox family has been making and delivering ice cream in Vermont since 1928. But this family business is older than that, and they've got the paperwork from the Equinox Hotel in Manchester to prove it.
It is a purchase order for the hotel. They wanted broilers but had enough eggs. We've been in the business since 1889, and my great-great-grandfather started peddling as a value-added product, eggs and chickens, lamb, sheep, even to the point in 1892 he was trading my aunt's tuition at Burton Academy for lamb because they had students there.
Today, Wilcox's premium ice cream makes 80,000 gallons of ice cream each year. It's all made by hand and it happens very fast. Christina Wilcox is the company's chief financial officer and ice cream maker extraordinaire.
I'm picking up a pint, I'm filling a pint, I'm setting it down and having another pint under the point of filling in sometimes 2 seconds. I have to use my peripheral vision to know that the containers are next to me and the person next to me is able to take that from me to put the lid on. It requires an immense amount of teamwork. Everybody has to flow together and know what the next person needs. My team is very well trained, and I don't usually have to ask for anything. They know exactly what I need next.
Before being made in East Arlington, Wilcox's premium ice cream was made at the family's dairy farm in Manchester. In 2001, a fire destroyed the ice cream production and distribution facilities at the farm. To keep their family business going, the Wilcoxes had to keep making ice cream, which meant miles. Lots of miles.
After the fire happened, my dad and I started traveling to other locations wherever we could rent time in a facility. We brought all of our packaging, all of our raw materials. Our mix was made for us to our recipe. We would make what we used to maybe make in a week in a whole day. There were many weeks over many years that day exceeded 20 hours from start to finish.
It was important for our family to continue our own private label, so we traveled into Massachusetts, into New York, into northern Vermont to produce our Wilcox label. And my daughter and I and my son, we'd get up at 4 in the morning, leave and go make like 1,300 gallons of ice cream, load it on the truck and come home, and then offload it into our storage units that we had at that time. So for us to have this facility today, it's like going from a Model T to a Cadillac.
To maintain its freshness, ice cream has to be hardened off or frozen fast. Freezing ice cream quickly and efficiently requires what's called a blast freezer. There's only one slight problem. The floor of the freezer has to stay warm, at least warmish.
We can freeze like 1,200 to 1,600 gallons an hour from plus 27 to minus 10 in less than 12 hours. It's like in the wintertime when it goes out and it gets really cold and it gets minus 20, the frost goes down on the ground. So now we have to protect the floor in our freezers from the frost permeating it down into the earth because it will heave the floor.
To solve this frosty problem, Howard and Christina began working with University of Vermont Extension agricultural engineer Chris Callahan.
I got involved with Wilcox through a referral from John Ryan at the Vermont Agricultural Development Program, VADP. I spend a lot of my time working with farms on refrigerated storage and other food processors on various forms of refrigeration and basically environmental control, temperature and humidity control. So there was a pretty clear fit when first talking with Wilcox, the difference being this is much colder.
The system Callahan designed from scratch is simple and uses something there's plenty of in a warehouse: air.
We have a room that is at below freezing, and we're really dealing with conduction of heat into that room away from things that we're hoping to keep warm, like moisture in soil. And so what we're doing is taking air from this warehouse storage space and pumping it through the floor underneath the freezer to prevent it from freezing. This unit right here is one fan that is part of the floor frost prevention system. It's driven by or controlled by a thermostat, and this thermostat has a sensor that's deep inside the room, under the floor, and it's sensing the temperature of the floor. And when it starts to get below, say 45 degrees Fahrenheit, we kick this fan on using the thermostat, and what that fan does is bring this room temperature air, maybe it's 55 to 60 degree air, and it brings it through the floor to bring that temperature back up to prevent it from freezing. It's a pretty low-tech, low-energy, or energy-efficient means of preventing the floor from freezing.
Chris Callahan and UVM Extension was just invaluable in that process. This was what you call a design build. We didn't have it all figured out before the day we started. We were figuring it out as we went along.
This kind of challenge fits with the service UVM Extension is tasked to provide to Vermonters.
A project like this really exemplifies my vision of what Extension is all about, because this is really putting research-based knowledge to use. This is an ice cream company that was looking to understand how to prevent their floor from freezing. There were large-scale commercially available options that, for a number of reasons, didn't fit. for this company. The key question is, what are our options and how do we understand which one is best?
The Wilcox family has been making ice cream for nearly 90 years, and there have been challenges along the way, for sure. But what matters most to them is that they keep making ice cream and keep their family business going for generations to come.
This summer when we were making ice cream, there was 5 of us making ice cream and 3 generations. So it's really very rewarding to be able to pass the torch to other generations and to show them some of the things that I have learned, and I have already found there's things they have learned that they incorporate. So this is very exciting and very important to us to do this. It's
perseverance. It's tattooed on our foreheads. So it's about being a part of something that is much larger than yourself. It's about, it's about continuing in what generations before you persevered through to make this even possible.
Determination and dedication are good qualities in a family or a business. And if you're a Wilcox, you could even say they're sweet. In East Arlington, I'm Keith Silva with Across the Fence.
And that's our program for today. Thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Stay well.